Welcome back, Focus Learners, to another deep dive here on The Explainer. Today, we're looking at something just absolutely incredible and honestly, super unique. We're talking about a single, unassuming Pinterest board that literally proves our digital spaces can be totally transformed by pure intention. We're going to explore how a digital space, originally just designed for sharing great artistic visual views together, morphed into this profound, collaborative canvas dedicated to the inspirations of peace and love to the world. It's basically the genesis of a digital sanctuary. It's a fascinating look at the psychology behind intentional curation, and I am just so excited to guide you through this visual journey today.
So how does a single image of an astrologer in space spark a movement of global peace? I know, it sounds almost paradoxical, right? How does one isolated image, literally an astrologer floating out there in the vastness of space, have the power to ignite a global movement centered on peace? Well, that's exactly the mystery we're unraveling right now. We're taking a real micro to macro journey here. We're going to track the evolution of this project from a solitary board pin to a massive, shared, living vision. It completely challenges our understanding of how digital media works, proving that, hey, an internet space doesn't just have to be this chaotic echo chamber. It can actually be a carefully cultivated garden of human connection.
All right, let's start right at the beginning. Section 1. The Space Astrologer, Ground Zero. An astrologer in space. The isolated spark of infinite possibility. Now, you might be wondering why an astrologer in space to kick things off. Think about what that represents for a second. The vastness of space is, well, it's the ultimate blank canvas. It's silent, it's expansive, and it just holds infinite possibility. And an astrologer, that's someone looking for meaning, searching for patterns, and really trying to understand our place in the cosmos. By starting this photo board with such a highly evocative image, the creator essentially set the tone for literally everything that would follow. It wasn't just a random pretty picture. No, it was an invitation to look up, to think bigger, and to project our absolute highest aspirations into this limitless void. It acts as that isolated spark, just waiting for others to bring their own light.
And that brings us perfectly to the mechanism of how this spark actually catches fire. Section 2. Curation as visual inspiration.
Pinterest curation. We're defining this as the intentional gathering of artistic visual views to create a shared digital sanctuary. We really need to redefine what we mean by curation in this specific context. Most of us use platforms like Pinterest to just kind of hoard recipes we might bake one day, or maybe to plan a living room renovation. But here, curation is elevated to a literal art form. The key word here is absolutely intentional. It's not about volume, it's all about resonance. The users contributing to this board aren't just blindly uploading files, they're carefully selecting imagery that perfectly aligns with an overarching frequency of peace and love. They are acting as digital architects, building a safe haven, pixel by pixel.
Which naturally leads us into the broader impact of this architecture. Section 3. Art inspiring global peace. Passive image viewing versus active inspiration for world peace. This brilliantly illustrates the core difference in how we actually consume media today. Think about passive viewing for a second. You know the drill, mindlessly scrolling through our feeds, just absorbing whatever the algorithm decides to throw at us. It's draining, isn't it? But contrast that with active inspiration for world peace. When users come together to share great artistic visual views with the specific, unified goal of radiating peace to the world, well, the active viewing becomes an active participation in a movement. You aren't just looking at art anymore. You are actively engaging with a global intent. It's a real game changer.
So what exactly makes up this active inspiration? Well, we have some core themes on this shared canvas. First, a relentless focus on global peace. Second, expressions of universal love. Third, inspiring artistic visuals that really elevate the mind. And finally, collaborative curation. Every single image pinned to this board serves as a vital thread in this much larger tapestry. If one person pins a breathtaking sunset and someone else pins a beautiful portrait of human compassion, they aren't just two separate pictures anymore. Bound together by these core themes, they form a unified argument for a better world. It's honestly incredibly powerful when you realize that each user is anonymously harmonizing with people all over the globe.
And this brings us right to the natural evolution of this whole project. Section 4. The Peace and Love Circle.
Let's look at how this builds, because this logical progression is just beautiful. Step 1 was our ground zero, the space astrologer, the solitary seeker. Step 2 was the gathering phase, right, where users began contributing those shared artistic views. But Step 3 is where the magic really happens, the emergence of the peace and love circle. As time goes on, a critical mass is reached. It stops being just this linear board of pictures and literally folds in on itself to become a circle, a self-sustaining loop of positive energy, a true symbol of unity and protection. The digital space transforms from a gallery you just visit into a circle you actually belong to.
It becomes far more than just a photo board, because as time goes on, more than just an artistic photo board will surely be built involving this peace and love circle. It completely transcends its original medium. Think of it kind of like a community center. The building itself is just bricks and mortar, right? Or, in this case, code and pixels. But what makes it a community center is the shared intent of the people inside it. By actively committing to the inspirations of peace and love, the contributors have taken a totally standard social media tool and forged it into a living, breathing digital movement. It's a quiet but super powerful rebellion against the negativity that so often dominates the internet.
Which naturally makes us wonder, what exactly comes next? Section 5. The future of curation.
If we map this out on a timeline, we see a really fascinating snowball effect. We start on day 1 with that singular spark, the first pin of the astrologer. Within month 1, we see a gathering of shared visuals. Fast forward to month 6, and the community solidifies into establishing that peace and love circle. And projecting forward to year 1 and beyond, the ultimate goal is realized, a global digital sanctuary. What this timeline really shows us is the power of persistence. Digital peace isn't achieved in a single day, folks. It requires the continuous, dedicated curation of uplifting visuals over time, and that creates a lasting, ever-expanding ripple effect of positivity that can genuinely impact how people feel and interact globally.
And that brings us to our final thought for this explainer. What will you add to the circle? We've seen how a single board pin on Pinterest, a picture of an astrologer out in the cosmos, can grow into a collaborative sanctuary of peace and love. But a circle is really only as strong as the people holding it together. It forces us to reflect on our own digital footprints. Are we just passively consuming, or are we actively curating? The next time you log online, just remember the sheer power of visual inspiration. Remember that you have the agency to add a spark of peace to the shared canvas of the internet. Thank you so much for joining me on this visual journey today. Focused learners, keep exploring, keep curating, and I will catch you in the next explainer.